issue. I think it's on an individual basis. So, like, I know of professors that they use their off time where they have other businesses that do well. But I think it just goes back to that individual person's mindset. So I know of teachers, for example, who feel like they're called, that teaching students is their calling in life. So they're not really, it's more of a labor of love for them, but they have other things they do that generate more income.
Okay.
So I don't know if I would put them all in. I think you have teachers that fall in that category, but then you have business owners that fall into that category too.
Oh, okay, because I always thought business owners never had that problem. It was really teachers. I've been in academia part of my life, and I've also lived in Europe quite a bit. And the people over in Europe, I don't know, they don't seem to value their time as much as Americans. That's my experience. And I just wonder if you had that experience when talking to teachers.
Yeah, like I said, more of a case-by-case basis.
Okay. You mentioned, Eric, that time can't be bought, okay? Even the world's richest billionaires can't buy time. Of course, we can't buy love either, huh? What do billionaires do differently to manage their time?
So one of the things, I've read about several different billionaires. I've been around other people that are very wealthy. One thing I've noticed is they view time the way a lot of people view money. Like their time, really, their time is like precious.
Yeah.
So they will outsource something that they could do because they know they need to be freed up to be focused on their priorities.
Okay.
Like they're not, like a lot of times they're not doing their own landscaping. They're so focused on how their time is spent. And if you have a meeting with someone that's at that level, you better get to the point quickly.
Right. Otherwise, you're out the door.
Okay, I have other things I could be doing. So that's the big difference between the people that are wealthy. They value their time to the point where they put a dollar amount on how much their time is worth. And by the way, I think that's a valuable exercise for the listeners to really do the math.
Right.
Take how much you make, divide it by the hours you work, and put a dollar sign on the value of your time.
Sure.
That really make you think about how you spend it.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I hope people are listening will do that. I know I certainly will. Eric, you're a member of the USBC, that's the United States Black Chambers. What is that organization, and how do you help people, and whom do you help?
So it's a network of other business owners. I mean, you have speakers, you have authors, you have entrepreneurs. So there's like a website that you can update your information on, and so another member who may be looking for a particular service can go to that site and see that you offer it. You can also, you can partner with someone that's in a similar category to you to get best practices. So it's helpful. I mean, I think one of the things when you talk about time management, procrastination, and I talk about this in the book, it helps to surround yourself with people that are moving in the same direction that you are.
Okay.
That's huge.
Right. Did you study psychology in college, or did you just come out? How did you come about all of this? Your focus on procrastination and all of these psychological things.
No, I was a marketing major when I was in college. Like I said, as I just through my work experiences, and then just like I've got a coaching certification. I've got coaching certifications and things of that nature. And you just start to understand as you interact with a lot of people, you just start to understand human psychology.
Sure. Yeah, because you mentioned fear of success, and I know in sports, to me, the fear of success seems to be stronger than the fear of defeat. And you see that some of the most successful athletes, I know that in tennis, is the ones who really don't like to lose. And they will do anything not to lose. And yet there's so many good athletes that when they're just about to win, they often lose because they're afraid of success.
Yeah. So there's another piece to that fear of success. Sometimes it's okay. Can I measure up to the new standard? So I'm afraid to be successful because let's say if I win Wimbledon, if I win this major tournament, they're going to expect me to win the next major tournament, and maybe I just got lucky. Maybe what if I'm a one-hit wonder? So can I measure up to the new expectations? And that happens a lot.
And you think but that sort of happens after the fact, after if they have won Wimbledon, not before, right?
Well, some people are afraid ahead of time. Like, if I reach this level of success, now there's going to be new expectations of me. And can I measure up to that expectation?
That's funny, yeah. Well, I sort of relate to that because I remember when I was getting my master's in linguistics, I thought to myself, well, I'm just going to have to do this thesis and then I have it. But then I thought, I just know more about phonetics than other parts of linguistics. And so I even went to a seminar that lasted all summer just so I would really broaden my knowledge of linguistics. So that's sort of like, you get the prize, but you're really not worth it. You really haven't done what you have to do to get it. I sort of relate to that.
Real quick, and then I know someone, she has a PhD, right? And she told me she doesn't tell people she's a doctor because of the expectations. She's afraid that when she says, hey, I'm Dr. So-and-so, people are going to expect me to have all this knowledge, and what if I just can't measure up? I think that's a classic example of the fear of success.
Yeah, that's very good. I never thought of it that way. Eric, there seem to be two types of people affected by procrastination. Number one, those that are not anxious at all and are quote, cool about everything, nothing bothers them. And then those that are overwhelmed by the quantity of information everywhere and just hide from the enormity of it all. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think both are, from my experience, I think either of the two scenarios can be subject to procrastination. So the people that are cool about everything, if they don't have like a compelling vision that they're working towards, they're definitely going to be more likely to procrastinate.
Sure.
But if they're cool and laid back, but if they find that passion that really lights them up, they'll be less likely to procrastinate. And then you said, so the person that's overwhelmed, they're definitely going to be a candidate for procrastination because a lot of times when we feel like there's a lot of choices, it's easy to do nothing.
Right. Yeah, I know, exactly, because you say, I got all of this stuff to do, so I'm not going to do anything. I know that, like in sports, again, going back to tennis, that you're on the court, and you just think all of these thoughts can come in and say, oh, this guy's so good, or this woman's so good, and what am I going to do? And so you just go nowhere. But I've always taught my kids to just think of one step at a time, get the ball over the net, hit the ball in the court, and just think of what you have to do next on the next point. Being in the now, I suppose. Yeah,
great point. Yeah. You have to be present, be where you are.
And that's right. Then do steps and not think of all the fear, but more what you actually have to do rather than the fear of doing. There are certain people that they never procrastinate. They're so anxious about getting stuff done that they just won't do it. They always do their difficult homework first if they're students, or their difficult work first if they're adults gainfully employed. Duty always comes before pleasure, always. How about your thoughts on those kind of people, the people who never procrastinate?
Well, that person, you have to be careful because you become a candidate for burnout. But it's good that they're on it and on point, but sometimes it's good to take a break and separate, because a lot of times you can lose your creative edge if you're always just focused on getting things done and being the best at work, and you become a candidate for burnout. And that's why for that person, I would say it's good to take vacations, take time off, step away from your work, and when you come back, you'll find that you have even better ideas.
Yeah, yeah. So sort of smell the U-band, as they say. Huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, smell the coffee. Um, we just have a few minutes left. Let's summarize. What should we all do, Eric, to conquer procrastination? Give us a summary of what you spoke about today.
So just to summarize, again, when we talk about time management, people tend to struggle with being able to predict how long things really take. I mean, I would recommend, giving yourself a buffer, like a 50% buffer. So if you think it's going to take an hour, give yourself an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's smart.
So things like that. So just give yourself that buffer and anticipate that life is going to happen and things are going to happen. And I hear people say all the time, "Oh, I work better under pressure." That's just justification for procrastination. Actually, you will be better if you take the time to do what you need to do when you need to do it.
Yeah, that's a really good thing. And then, of course, the clear goals. What about those? Yeah,
absolutely. Clarity is the starting point of success. The clearer you are on where you want to go, the less likely you are to procrastinate, the easier it will be to prioritize. Remember, the problem is not having too much to do. The problem is not knowing what to do next. If you have a clear goal, it makes it easier for you to focus on the next thing.
Yeah, very good point. Again, back to tennis. They always say, what's the most important point in tennis? Well, it's the next point, right?
Exactly.
And then, of course, the fear of success, too. We have to fear of failure might be the better mantra, right?
Well, I mean, they're both issues. The fear of failure is pretty common as well, but the key to overcome the fear of failure is you have to focus more on the process than you do the outcome.
Okay, yeah. Good point. Very good point. Well, Eric, unfortunately, we've come to the end. We only have about 15 seconds left, so I'm going to have to conclude by saying this interview will air in the upcoming weeks. Eric Twiggs is an author as well as procrastination and time management expert. I'd like to thank Eric Twiggs for being on our show today. My name is Richard Bont, and this is Curmudgeonly Yours, an eclectic show on Society Bites Radio. You can download these podcasts on societybitesradio.com or richardbont.com, and you can also listen to us on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, Sound Echo, and several other internet platforms. Thank you, Eric Twiggs. Thanks for being my guest.
Hey, thank you for having me on your show. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks. Bye-bye. So I'd like to thank our guests for being on Curmudgeonly Yours today. And please, if you like what you heard, send me an email to richard@richardbont.com. And if you didn't, please keep your comments to yourself. Remember, this is Richard Bont and Curmudgeonly Yours on Society Bites Radio, where everything is what it seems, nothing is what it seems, and what is not said is often of most interest.